Society relies on a very specific story about systemic evil. When we look back at history's most oppressive regimes, we imagine they were called into existence solely by monsters, solitary dictators at podiums who somehow managed to bend the world to their will through the sheer force of their own darkness. But an order, on its own, is entirely impotent. No matter how malicious the intent, a command is just a vibration in the air. Without a pair of hands to catch that vibration and act on it, the order remains an abstract thought with zero physical weight. The tyrant only provides a blueprint. To make that blueprint real, he requires the physical, embodied reality of people who choose to pick up a pen or a sword on his behalf. Dictators possess zero inherent power. Their only actual capability is manipulation, the talent for convincing thousands of normal individuals to do the physical work for them. The clerk at the desk, the teacher in the classroom, the soldier at the gate, these are the hands that assemble the architecture of hell. Most people choose this path because it offers the psychological comfort of safety. Standing on one's own conscience is a heavy burden, so they trade their personal responsibility for the convenience of an institutional directive. Systemic evil is a product of millions of small decisions to stop thinking. When an entire population decides they are just doing their job, the whispered blueprint of a tyrant solidifies into a physical cage. This violence rarely announces itself with a uniform or a rifle. It arrives passively, through a bureaucratic smile, a corporate lanyard, or a policy laminated at the register. A hellish system only becomes real when everyday citizens surrender their own consciousness to the collective machinery of the state. In the moral landscape of a regime, the order giver at least owns his intent. He looks directly at what he wants and accepts the moral weight of his own ambition. The follower, however, constructs an elaborate apparatus of deniability. They participate in the destruction while hiding behind the job title or the mandate, allowing them to carry out the work of a monster while feeling completely innocent. Outsourcing your moral compass to a system is the ultimate self-deception. It allows a person to forge physical chains while maintaining clean hands. This is why the follower provides the life force of the system. The giver only has a mouth, but the follower provides the hands, the back, and the sweat that turns a whispered evil into a manifest one. By providing the physical labor while refusing to own the moral cost, the follower makes a scale of evil possible that a solitary tyrant could never achieve alone. Every human interaction is governed by natural law, the universal operating system that dictates the moral consequences of our behavior. Much like the laws of physics, it operates through self-evident truths like the principle of non-aggression and personal responsibility. Suspending your own consciousness to blindly follow orders is a direct violation of this system. It is an irrational act that ignores the inherent right of every individual to self-ownership. When you refuse to think, you cease to be a man and become a tool. A sovereign individual, however, retains their consciousness, reclaiming the divine spark within that recognizes no authority above their own reason and conscience. The compliant are often terrified of the sovereign person because he acts as a mirror, forcing them to look at the humanity they have abdicated to the system. Reality does not negotiate with those who have made themselves tools. True sovereignty requires you to hold your own divine spark and take full moral accountability for every action you carve into the world. The system sustains its architecture through the management of ambient fear. It keeps the population in a state of chronic, unresolvable dread to ensure the reasoning capacity of the individual remains collapsed and paralyzed. Breaking this control requires the transmutation of fear. You look directly at the biological alarm, filter out the manufactured noise of the news cycle, and isolate the useful information regarding genuine threats. Extracting the signal from the manufactured noise allows you to channel that energy into deliberate action. This is the practice of a sovereign being, learning to navigate by the light of the fire rather than being consumed by it. True strength begins the moment you refuse to outsource your safety or your morality to external structures. You align your mind, your will, and your actions with truth. You take responsibility for your life and your choices, becoming the one who will carry the flame of justice in a dark age. To begin building your own inner operating system, click the link in the description to download the free Fear Transmutation Manual. Extracting the signal from the noise allows the sovereign being to act while the system expects them to freeze. Reject the architecture of hell by choosing the path of self-mastery.